for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean those bare necessities, oh, Mother Nature's recipes that are the bare necessities of life. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean those bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Whenever I wander, whenever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the trees and making honey just for me. Those bare necessities of life will come to you. Whenever I wander, whenever I roam, well, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the trees and making honey just for me. Those bare necessities of life will come to you. The bees are buzzing in the trees and making honey just for me. Don't you worry, those bare necessities of life will come to you.
Hey guys, what did you think of that one? I just figured out how to upload all of my music onto Restream, so now I can play you high quality tracks. And that is one of my favorites from the Interior Design album, which you need to know. This album, the Interior Design album here, which was the massive recovery come out of Stage Fright Recovery album. And that track that you just heard, Bare Necessities, was one of my healing experiences, because at that time, the first thing I decided to take back from stage fright was piano, and I started playing piano. In fact, I was terrified to play guitar. It's really weird. I literally gave up guitar. We were talking about how much you can be moving forward and then just concede certain things. So I got into piano, and then I got this fear of playing guitar, which I now love and pretty much do all the time now. And so I wrote an arrangement of Bare Necessities. So what you're hearing are my arrangements and are my licks. I'm playing the piano, and then I brought in my friend Natalie who did the vibe solo. And it's a tricky arrangement. And out of absolute terror and fear, I picked a song that I thought I could make my own, and that I could that would give me a feeling and a sense of overcoming the bare necessities. That kind of like, don't take yourself so dang seriously, Julie. And so as I listen to that, I am listening to things that I can't even really play right now currently, because I'm not revved up with my piano technique at this point. But what I was able to do in the process of overcoming really kind of blows my mind, because if you understood how very limited and terrified my mindset was, I had this stage fright, social anxiety in spades. And yet I went into the studio, and this album, before my other albums like Good Woman and Never Felt the Sun. I mean, on this album I have, Hubert Laws and Hugh Martin. Hubert Laws is a symphonic flute player, jazz flute player. He's known internationally all over the world. He's on this. Some of the best LA studio musicians are on this. Hugh Martin, who wrote all the music for Meet Me in St. Louis, is on this. He wrote an arrangement of his song just for me. But I was a sense in which, like, well, there's all these great players, and so no matter what happens with me, they'll, at least it'll be good because they're there. But this album, and this is just going to relate to our discussion of overcoming, was me, just me. Me on guitar, me playing guitar, me playing piano, Julie vocal, going into the studio, playing these tracks all by my lonesome, and then adding a couple of textures so it's super organic sounding. And the idea here is, can the simplicity of the music I write and the sound of my voice and my guitar and my piano completely peeled back, like this is kind of where I really am. This is about as good as I can play right now. Can it be okay for me to be where I am in the process? And of course, in the studio, yes, you can punch certain things and you can fix certain things. But, there really was just a lot of totally real, I'm playing through this track, it is what it is on this album. And it's one of the most winning albums that I have, because it is purely the power of what I believe is really gifted songwriting, because that's something God has given me since I was very little. And I know how unique my material is. And just the sound of where I'm at, could that be enough? Could I come up and could I let you see the interior of my soul in this thing? So I'm going back and I'm reviewing it and I'm playing for you Bare Necessities, because I remember how terrifying it was and how scary it was. And the concerts I did, I had a band and we played Scullers Jazz Club, which is the #1 jazz club in Boston. That was my big wow moment with some of the most fantastic musicians. I had percussion, vibes, bass. I played the piano and the guitar. We had flute, saxophone, just super, super high quality musicians. We did a fabulous event at Scullers Jazz Club, and then they all came to me and said they were moving. So I went from wow to wow, and then the radio show got launched, which is an interesting thing from all of that. So I'm just sharing with you process. I'm sharing with you stories. I like stories. I like to know, what is an artist saying in a canvas? What is a song saying? I think story is also essential for what? For worship. Story is essential for worship. And the reason why I don't relate to a lot of worship that goes on now is because I feel like we're not telling stories the way we did before in worship, where there were hymns and verses and history woven in our thing. But that's another story for another day, another discussion. In any event, I'm glad you're here. It was just kind of a Friday fill-up. I wanted to play something bubbly for you and something fresh. And I think some of the things that I bring to you are kind of, I stumble into things that I think I just want to share. And for those of you who are following along in my tribe right now and you're finding this encouraging and uplifting, we share this community. And, as long as you're here, I'll give you what I got. I bumped into something yesterday because I was upset and exorcised by the battle, right? The battle thing. Right in the midst of what we're doing, there was some really kind of yucky news, and I just felt small. Well, I just popped onto Periscope last night, and it was the scam. I'm so enthusiastic about doing things to help that the minute I saw that thing about everybody in the world write the president, send him letters, snail mail, to insist on a 50-state audit. Well, I can't tell you how many people I sent that to before. If somebody had the common sense to challenge me and say, maybe this isn't, maybe this is a scam, Julie. And then it made me mad. And then there were other things like this lockdown thing. Lori Beetlejuice Lightfoot, holy crud, and this lockdown and this reset and this global take. I mean, you're just minding your own business. You're doing what God has asked you to do. You're getting up. You're doing this stuff. You're in your prayers. You're in your life. You're being faithful. And so much is happening, And so I was ready to kind of recede. I wanted to go upstairs and watch somebody paint a bathroom or something, and just go away. And I felt very small. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to hop on Periscope and I'm going to pray. And Lisa Perna got on and Jilly was there and some others of you. I can't remember everyone who was there. But you know what? In the moment, we just got her done. We just got on and we took care of business. And then today, Liberty Joe, Salt and Light Unite, did the same thing. She was exorcised by the reality of the battle in Georgia where she's from, and she just said, okay, I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to hop on. We're going to take care of this right now. We're going to take care of business. Maybe that's the new season we're in because we're in another weight class. We have way more now that we're dealing with consistently. We're not going to go back to our little lives. We're not. Because once we win this particular battle, then we have to reform the nation. As when we get off this ark, because apparently we're not off yet, and when we finally give birth, because the birth complications, when we finally give birth to this new life, to this new season, to this second term, we're going to have a lot of work to do because they're not just going to go away and give us our country back. And he's going to take on COVID, and he's going to take on the central banks. And believe you me, and he's going to take on violence in the streets. And we're going to be taking it on. We're going to be dealing with it. We're going to be praying about it. We're going to be activating. We're going to be creating new communities and projects to win our own areas, our own town councils, our own schools, our own neighborhoods, right? We're on the ground. We're boots on the ground. We're an invasionary force for occupation. It's not going to go back to, okay, that's you guys in Washington. You take care of that, and we'll leave the driving to you, which is essentially, didn't we pretty much do that? Didn't we pretty much just kind of vote people in and walk away? Not anymore. That has changed. Now we're in a different weight-bearing class, a different level of resistance, a different level of activity. So we're all getting used to that. And I think that for your Friday fill-up this time is just to go, okay, so if that's the way it is, what have I said to you? Good self-care, good community, rest, right? Make sure you rest, make sure you get those naps, make sure you take the breaks when you need to. I'm a little less excited about people right now doing the sky is falling, fast and pray harder than you've ever prayed before. I'm not opposed to that, but I am sort of like slow and steady wins the race. Every day, what do I have to do? What do I have to create? What love do I need to bring? How present do I need to be for the people around me? What ministry, what relationships, what business do I have to take care of? What new books do I have to write? What new music do I have to bring to the world? Especially as an artist, arts are on the forefront of this battle because culture is downwind. Politics is downwind from culture. So artists are very much on the forefront of this new revolution, right? To be telling the stories. We need to be telling the stories. We need to be writing the books. We need to be releasing the symphonies and the movies and the music and the cultural engagement, creative imagination engineer work, right? We need to be doing that, and we have to be bringing that to the forefront. You know, we need the people who are cooking and baking and creating and problem solving and bringing new systems and solving these issues with fraud and voting and you know, people that need help. You know, the poor, helping with the poor without turning ourselves into socialists. I mean, this is the new thing. We have a new world. We have a new world. Like getting out of that ark, raising that baby, changing those diapers, reforming, becoming a revolutionary occupation force, right? Because the enemy doesn't negotiate with you if you don't have any leverage. The British were able to negotiate, you know, to surrender Cornwallis, the whole thing, and then negotiate some kind of working relationship with the United States, the colonies, because we had leverage. We smoked and we won the battle. They realized that they could not effectively really rule us from that distance, right? Plus, we had shown up and made it really, really painful for them to do that. And so that's what we're doing. We have to show up and make the enemy pay. So he knows, you go back that way. You go back. We're occupying this. So that's a whole other level of activity. We're not going to go back to the good old days where we left the driving to the DC people and the state capitol people and your town council and your mayor. We can't. It's changing. Or we left the evangelism to the big people on the, you know, and the revival to the guy who comes with the tent. It's over. So now, when we have like things to deal with, we got to blast them out. We got to just get it done and know that that's okay. That I don't think, I'm not going to at this point be hiding off in a closet for 3 days fasting and praying and stopping everything and doing that. I just don't see that as a reality for where God has placed me. Some may. So this idea of blasting out effectively, being able to show up, sharpshoot, move on. And that's why I think that thing you shared with me, Larry, from Dutch Sheets was super, super effective. I liked that. He saw enemy's plans. He saw what was going on. And then there was a call for the sharpshooters, which were the intercessors, he understood. And they bing, 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 did their job, took it out. I want to be an assassin in the spirit, you know? Go up, find my strategic position, you know, kind of come out of nowhere, fire the rifle, calculate for the wind and the conditions and the humidity and boom, 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 fire off, you know, a Full Metal Jacket or whatever it is, boom, deadly hit, bang, take it out, pack back up, put my things down, go down, put my glasses on, and blend into the crowd. I want to be a sharpshooter in the spirit. And a lot of you do too. So I think our new paradigm moving forward is the slow, the steady, the even, the happy, the calm, the activated. So yes, so every day there's some resistance going on. Like you said, Andrea, I'm not wearing the stupid mask. Sorry. And next time I go out, I'm making eye contact. I'm taking the place. I'm walking in my favor. I'm using my confirmation bias of overwhelming force to do the jobs I need to do. And I choose to live out of that, even if I'm in situations that call up older anxieties and older losses. I feel that if you put me in certain situations in community settings, school board meetings, and you know, stuff like that, I have an implosion reaction, like, oh, here we go again. They're just going to squish us like bugs, you know, because that's what they do, and we don't have any power. That was then, and this is now. I'm going to create and use and leverage up on the overwhelming force bias of a life that is compassed about with favor as a shield. And so that means that a lot of issues I don't have to war over simply because I show up and God is there. There was a time when I was so aware of everything because there was a lot of disorder. Now I feel like when I walk into settings, and you will too, the more healed and whole you get, I walk into settings and simply my presence there and the Lord with me, pretty much, I think a lot of things get settled just because I show up. And then there's the more aggressive things that I need to do, the more focused things, the more favor-oriented things where I need to say, no, I'm showing up. And even if being here calls up another memory or another thing or another feeling of oppression and defeat, that doesn't change my baseline, which is God always enters with overwhelming force. The question is, do we understand that and live out of it? He always enters the room with overwhelming force. How could he not? How could Christ in us, the hope of glory, the resurrection, and the life, not be the overwhelming force in the room, right? How could our influence not be the overwhelming force? And of course, when you're dealing with nations and communities, we leverage up with one another, with agreement, with numbers, with activation, with declaration, with confidence. We leverage up for the larger jobs. So I loved the idea of, okay, a thing comes up, we have to deal with it. Liberty Joe was like, "Ooh, this is really bothering me when I'm finding out that this recount and thing in Georgia is a joke. I'm mad about that. I'm hopping on. I'm going to get out my rifle. We're going to do some sharpshooting. We're going to take care of it. We're going to do a blast, a burst of intercession, and then move on. What's the next one? What's the next thing that's coming up? I think we're free to do that. Just like we have had certain prayer strategies, like with the Q Hit team. But that was kind of like, okay, we're going to gather, we got a list, and we'll probably be there for an hour or whatever it is. How about we feel free to just leverage up with whoever's available and become those sharpshooters and just deal with what's in front of us so we can get back our peace, our confidence, our clarity that we've moved in obedience, that we've taken care of business. Does that sound good to you guys? Yeah, let's get it done. That's exactly right. And that we can walk on the sunny side of the street, that we can walk on the bubbly side of the street, that we can assume we are the ones with the, that we're coming in with the Humvees and the massive deployment powers that we have in every setting, even if we are artfully hidden and we're coming in with a spirit of humility or intel gathering, or we're sharpshooting, or one of my favorite verses is the Lord sends his arrow out of nowhere, the arrows of the Lord. It was one that the Lord gave me right before I met and prayed with Hillary Clinton a couple of years, 4 years ago when she was running for office. The Lord sent me as an arrow to literally take her hands and look her in the eyes and loose something from heaven upon her, which shocked us both, I'll tell you. And he sent me as an arrow. And that same, I don't know if it's Psalm 64 or whatever, that same psalm talks about how they conspire together and they say, no one's ever going to see us. We've got this. We've got our plans. We've got our devices. But the Lord shoots out at them with an arrow, and they're mortally wounded. And this is something cool about being an arrow, about being a sharpshooter. Something cool. Got a little project going on down there. Something cool about keeping your powder dry, about being a crack unit that you can be called on to take care of things and move stuff around and say, nope, we're not allowing that, we're not allowing that. Long view, we're not going back to the old paradigm. We're really not. When this arc season, when this is over and we step out, it's a whole new world. And guess what? Noah and his family had to build a whole new society, whole new communities, whole new infrastructure. And they had to populate the earth and deal with the stuff that came up. There was some creepy stuff that came up in Noah's family, right? Yeah? We got to deal with that. We got to be ready. And so, right? So, here we go. Let's stay on the sunny side of the street. Let's stay there and function from there. So this is sort of just a weekend encouragement, because you guys, there's going to be a lot going on. There's going to be some things that you hadn't accounted for. But hey, guess what? I just found out Charlie Shamp is going to be in my backyard, like 45 minutes away. So I'm going to go hang out with Charlie Shamp. Hey, that is so cool. Right here in Nuevo Hampshire. And, but it's good because late last night I got some bad news, And then I thought, no, we're just going to deal with it. I'm not going to perseverate over it. Give it space. Worry about it. No, let's just deal. Let's just get on the line. Let's get on those scopes. Let's call other prayer warriors. move out and leverage up with our resources that we have and just stay like, okay, well, that's another one. You know, what's coming next? You know, there's another one, right? That's how we're going to do this thing. So, you going to do something that scares you? Even just a little bit? Of course you are. Of course you are. And I want to show you one last thing. Look at me do all these things here. This is my Subscribe Star page. You see it? And you can dip your toe in. You can be a fear-free fan. You can get involved in a group class or elite small group mentoring, one-on-one monthly coaching. Hello, kind of cool. Up to you. Talk about leveraging up. I will see you guys on Monday, and I'm sure if you need me there to pray, and I need you there to pray, we'll all stay tuned and support each other, won't we? Yes, we will. You're late, but that's okay. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to play this tune one more time because now you know the story of the tune and you should enjoy some bubbles. And if you like it, I would just love for you to order my CD, Interior Design, which you can get on julielavender.com. There you go. Here we go. Enjoy.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean those bare necessities, oh, Mother Nature's recipes that are the bare necessities of life. Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean those bare necessities. That's why a bear can rest at ease with just the bare necessities of life. Whenever I wander, whenever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the trees and making honey just for me. Those bare necessities of life will come to you. those bare necessities of life will come to you.
Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you.